Well, let's get more on that development now in South Sudan. We're joined here in studio by John Gachie, a media political analyst. John, thank you for joining us here on Africa Live Now. What is your assessment, what is your reading of the unfolding situation in South Sudan?
One, I would say it was not unexpected. It has taken a little too long. The showdown between the different factions within the SPLM were going to come to a head. Now, in what form and what nature, that's what everybody was asking. But it was not unexpected.
It was not unexpected, though, and President Salva Kiir did mention that he had foiled an attempted coup. But what about the other dissenting voices within South Sudan?
Yes, the debate is on. Is then President Salva Kiir the inheritor of the John Garang mantle? Is he a Democrat? Is he willing to open up space? That is a big question. Now, the group that he says that we are perhaps behind a coup have been trying to get the crown to say that they represent the real SPLM. Now, that is not necessarily true. You have to understand that Salva Kiir was John Garang's lieutenant. He was a chief of staff. He was his deputy for a long time. Now, the other group, even though fairly close to John Garang, has also had been infiltrated by what I would call power play and people who were ambitious. And I think you have two factions.
Right.
And one faction is fairly ambitious, so to speak, and I think they had underrated the president currently. And what we have now is now the clash, as it were, to settle then who then inherits the mantle of John Garang.
It was not a totally unexpected move there in your words earlier on, though, but how long had the dissent been brewing within the political sphere?
Immediately after the late John Garang died, and perhaps even prior to that. For a lot of people might not recall, just before the peace process, in 2004, there was a very serious showdown between the then John Garang and Salva Kiir. And it was kind of patched up for the sake of the peace agreement in 2005. But immediately John Garang died, Salva Kiir took over. There were certain sections that felt that perhaps Salva wasn't really the right person, so to speak. And it's been persistent over the last 8 years. It's only now that over the last 1 year, I think the situation has kind of unfolded rather fast. And I think this had to happen. The key, perhaps, thing was the cabinet reshuffle, because all along,
right,
the other group that felt Salva wasn't the right person had kind of tried him, had kind of provoked him. And I think what you're seeing is the president saying, perhaps I've had enough, and it's about time that perhaps he asserted himself.
We saw the president coming on television earlier on to assure the nation that everything was under control there. Moving forward, though, what kind of South Sudanese politics are we likely to see?
Yeah. I think what we are most likely going to see, we're going to see an assertive president right now. And I think we're also going to see a more assertive opposition. Now, whether that opposition will be within the SPLM or perhaps will move more to the other, which was, I would call, a fairly weak opposition, and strengthen that, that's another matter. But I could certainly say that the South Sudanese political scene will have to change.
All right, John Gachie, we'll leave it there for the moment. Media political analyst joining us here on Africa Live. Thank you for your update.